Welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson is over mixed integers. So what I would like you to do is to copy this open number line, and we are going to be plotting numbers onto this open number line. So please draw two arrows at the end because it keeps going and going, and put 0 in the center and put -6 to the left of 0 because negative numbers are to the left of 0, while positive numbers are to the right because it goes from least to greatest, in case you forgot how to order integers. So let's look at our first example. -2. I'm going to draw this. -2. Can I take away -5 from this -2 without changing its value? No, I need to draw 0 pairs. So I take away this -5. So -2 plus 5 is 3, and it goes here. You may not like the drawing, the modeling. It's okay. Do you remember something called add the opposite? You keep the -2. You turn the subtraction to an adding. What's the opposite of -5? 5. Next one. You have 8 positive that combines with 3 negative. This makes 0 pair, so it's 5. What's 14 negatives? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Divided into two groups. -7. Another way to do it is 14 divided by 2 is 7. Opposite of 7 is -7. 2 times 3 is 6. What's the opposite of a negative? A positive 6. Because a negative times a negative is a positive. Opposite of a negative is a positive. Name an integer less than -1. So if I put -1 here, an integer goes from least to greatest, I'll say -3. What's the absolute value of 4? How far, what's the distance of 4 from 0? How far is 4 from 0? 4 units, so 4. Name a rational number. A rational number is any number that can be written as in fraction form. So it could be any one of these, but I'll actually use a fraction. What about 3/4? All right, so what happens when you multiply a negative number by a negative number? Any prediction? Negative times a negative. Negative times a negative. Well, you're going to be watching a video called from Stand and Deliver. His name is, I believe, he's a teacher, Jaime Escamilla. He taught in the East Los Angeles area. So he was able, well, you'll see. So what happens? Let's go back to our previous screen. What happens when you multiply a negative number by a negative number? It equals a positive. But why? Because opposite of a negative is a positive. So anyway, he was able to raise a school that historically has not gotten the best advanced placement scores in calculus. It was able to raise up the scores and show that anybody through hard work can do math. All right, and so that's our growth mindset. So the Houston Texans are sponsoring our classroom. Um, so uh, so what we're going to do is I would like you to divide your paper into fourths, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and then you're going to be going around the classroom in like a little station, and you're going to answer these 4 questions. And so let's look at our first one. The table shows the number of yards gained due to plays or penalties during the Houston Texans' ninth possession in the 2015 Houston Texans versus Miami Dolphins game. If yards are lost during the game, the number is recorded as a negative number. Ooh, no bueno. No good. The net yards gained is calculated by determining the sum of the yards gained for each play of the possession. Calculate the net yards for this one. So we need to find the sum of this. Do you want me to draw positives and negatives to make a number line? Or are we just like going to do it mentally? 11 plus 11 is 22 plus 7 negatives plus 8 negatives plus 5 more negatives. That's a lot of negatives. If I drew 7 negatives, 8 negatives, 5 negatives, that'd be 7 plus 8 is 15 plus 5. That's 20 negatives. Do I have more positive or more negatives? More positive. So I believe the answer is going to be 2. Dun, 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 dun. And yes, I got it. 2. The Houston Texans, so that's an addition problem. So we did an addition problem. So highlighter, check. Next one, the Houston Texans will play in Green Bay, Wisconsin on December 4th, 2016. One of the coldest games ever played in Green Bay was in 1967 when the temperature was negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit. The average temperature in Houston is 54 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the possible temperature difference the Houston Texans might experience if there is another historically low temperature in Green Bay? So, you know, I'm going to draw a thermometer. You don't have to, but I'm going to draw a thermometer. So let's see. The temperature, the coldest game ever played was negative 13 degrees. So it goes below zero. The average temperature in Houston is 54 degrees. So what is the possible temperature difference between my experience if there is a historical? So many ways you can do this. How far, what's the absolute value of 54 from zero? 54. How far is negative 13 from 0? 13 degrees. So that is a 67 degrees difference between 54 degrees to negative 13 degrees. One way to solve it. However, some of you may have seen this word difference. So subtract 54 minus negative 13. I could draw this, but I'm not going to draw this. Do you remember the shortcut on this? How to subtract integers? Keep the 54, turn the subtraction to it, adding the opposite, adding the opposite. What's the opposite of negative 13? 13. And that's where you get the 67 degrees difference. So we check mark. Number 3. If the opposing team quarterback is tackled by J.J. Watt while the quarterback still has possession of the football, it is called a sack, and he is known for those. In the 2015, the average yards gained by the opening team to the nearest integer when J.J. Watt sacked their quarterback is negative 7 yards. Way to go, J.J. This means that the team loses 7 yards on average each time their quarterback is sacked. If this average continue, what will be the average yard gained or lost by the opposing team due to sacks if J.J. Watt sacks their quarterback 4 times? So he sacks them 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. And he says that they sack about negative 7 yards each time. What is 4 groups of negative 7? 4 times negative 7 would be negative 28. I could see it as negative 7 plus negative 7 plus negative 7 plus negative 7. 4 groups of negative 7. Another way I could do it is 4 times 7 is 28. Negative means opposite. Negative 28. So that's a multiplying. So I guess that leaves us division 1. Let's see why this is a division. The kitchen at NRG Stadium prepares 8,000 hot dogs for each Texans game. 200 hot dogs are discarded or thrown away for quality reason each game. That's a waste of food. The kitchen records a loss of negative $600 for each game due to discarding these hot dogs. So they lose $600. What is the loss for each hot dog? So they spent $600 on 200 hot dogs. How much money did they lose on each one? I could draw $600 bills and divide them into 200 groups. So so that could be written like this way, or it could be written like this way, negative 600 divided by 200. How many 200s go into 600? 200, 400, 600, 3, opposite, opposite. So they lose $3 per hot dog, or they lose $3 for each hot dog. And that is for stuff. So hopefully you have practiced your mixed integers because we are going to be assessing your integer operations. Good luck, guys.